You've said a few times that at the beginning of the year you thought this had a chance to be a pretty special team. That being said, did you think there was a 10-game winning streak in this team?
Yeah, I don't know that we look at what our winning streak's going to be, and I just knew this team had a chance to be good, a chance to be special, and they're special in a lot of ways, not just on the basketball court. And I think that's what makes them special. Is it's a very unique team. It's a team. It's like a group of sisters, and you hear them talk to each other, and they bicker like sisters, and you hear them talk about that, and it's really kind of cute, but they really have each other's back, and they root for each other. You know, that's the thing. They root for each other. They want everybody to be successful, do well, and the chemistry, the personalities, it's just it clicks, and it's really enjoyable to watch. It's enjoyable to have the practice. It's enjoyable to coach.
You're 9-0 in Conference USA after today's 67-50 win over Marshall, but you come into today on the heels of a 3-overtime win over UAB. How worried were you about either mental and emotional energy or just having the legs to go out and get another game under their belts today?
I think, every coach is concerned about how their kids are going to react after a game like that. It's draining. It's physically draining, emotionally draining. I mean, it's draining for the coaches. It takes a little bit to get over that, but it's a whole lot easier to come back if you're on the winning side of it. And it's a lot easier to come to practice the next day with smiles on your face. Doesn't matter how tired you are. But we just the next day we came in and we shot. We watched film. We shot. We didn't do anything with contact. Yesterday, to be honest, they were still a little dragging, and it surprised me. I guess I expected them to be ready to. I'm not ready to go, but I expected them to maybe be recovered by then. But I think they kept talking about after practice they were going to go home and just relax, and they got something to eat and just watch basketball and that. And that's, hey, I hope that's what they did, get themselves ready for the game. But today in shoot around, we had a good shoot around. They had pep in their step. You can see everybody was kidding with each other. It was a great environment. I really thought that we would have a faster start than we did today because of the shoot-around we had.
Marshall came in today having won one of its last 9 or 10 games. What kinds of things did you and your staff focus on and talk about with your team before this game?
Well, these are sometimes some of the toughest teams to prepare for because, one, Marshall comes in with nothing to lose. So they can lay it all out on the floor. They can trap. They can get after it. They don't have to play tight. I mean, really, they have nothing to lose. And this is a situation that you got to go out there and you got to make sure you win this ball game. Coaches probably spend more time worrying about it than players. And I think, players, I think this team does a pretty good job in keeping things in perspective. The reality of the situation, but coaches are always worried. No matter the situation, you're always worried: are they ready? Are they mentally ready? Are they physically ready? Have we prepared them for everything that can be thrown their way? It's just part of coaching, and we'll do 10 times more worrying than they'll ever think about doing.
You've had a few games this year where you got the win, but you didn't necessarily start as quickly as you'd like. Today, you didn't pull away early, but you got to pull away in the second half, part of which was because of Akil Simpson, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, couple of blocks. Did you get after her at halftime or say anything to help her crank it up in the second half?
No, Akil's been playing consistent basketball. She really has, and we rely mostly on 3 players for offensive production consistently, and that's Keena Mays, Alicia Fillmore, and Akil Simpson. And when those 3 are on, we're a totally different team. At UTEP, the 3 of them collectively probably had the best game that they had all year. Today, Alicia really struggled with her outside shot. She needed to get to the basket a little bit more. She struggled, just couldn't really find it. But she does a lot of other things, and she always defends the best offensive player out there. But Akil has been very consistent, and she's played a lot smarter. She's kept her emotions intact this year, and she is, when she gets the ball under the basket, she's got great hands, and she finishes. But I think really the player of the game, to be honest, was Kristen Askew. and coming in, because she's the one who really got us going. And when I mean by player of the game, she's the player that turned the game around. She's the one that turned, all of a sudden when she came in, we put her in to defend end line to end line, on ball defense. She picked it up, got a steal, came down, hit a three. She just got her emotions going. And our offense wasn't really great. Our running game, we weren't hitting shots in our transition game, so she kind of got us going. So we talked about we got to make plays from our offense, create offense from our defense, rather.
When you get a performance like you got from Kristen Askew, coming in cold off the bench, hitting that quick three, sort of igniting your team a little bit, is that kind of spark something that you teach a player, or is that sort of born into someone that they've got it and they're able to do that?
Well, hitting the three is nice, you know. I mean, when you come off the bench and you're sitting the whole half and you take your first shot to three and you hit it, you know, people don't realize that's tough to do. You've been sitting for a long time, but I think sometimes the adrenaline gets you going. She had just stolen the ball in the second half, and she gets a reverse pass, hits the three, and now all of a sudden she's feeling good about herself, and just it's a confidence booster. And quite honestly, Kristen needed a game like this because she has struggled a little bit in practice the last couple of weeks, and she was sick, and you know she's had some personal issues to deal with. So we need to get her. I want to get her more minutes because she's a great on-ball defender, and she's a stronger guard, so she can get after it. And I'm hoping that today she's turned the corner a little bit, because as we get deeper we're getting into the second half of conference, as we get into tournament play in this conference tournament, we got to be able to rest Vake. We got to be able to rest Keena and Alicia and have kids come in and be able to run our ball club.
You mentioned the three players that you rely on so much offensively: Akil Simpson, Keena Mays, Alicia Fillmore. Keena led the way again offensively with 17 points and had the 4-point play. How the three of them, I think, had 45, 49, and 50 minutes the other night. How important was it to you to get that lead in the second half so you could sit them down and get them a little rest? Well,
it's funny because we're trying to rest them, you know, at the appropriate times, whether it be right before timeout and that. But I took Keena out towards the end of the game, and I had actually planned, it was somewhat of a close game, and I took her out. But I planned to put her back in, and all of a sudden we started running the ball, we started getting some transition baskets, and before you know it was a 20-point lead. And she's tapping my leg saying, let me go back in. And I said, no. At that point, we had a 22-point lead, and 6 minutes ago I said, I don't want to have to put you back in. But I said we need to get other players some minutes in that. But it's just funny because they want to go back in. And I like that. I like when, you know, kids should want to go back in the game. But she knew, she understood where I was coming from.